Hello and welcome to StudyIQ. I am your friend Rahul Saigaonker. The agenda for today's discussion is connected to science and technology, very relevant for GS paper 3. We are going to discuss about antibiotics. We are going to focus on antibiotic resistance and we are going to analyze the feasibility of a new treatment methodology called as phage therapy. Why are we discussing this? Recently, University of Exeter has released a study where they have highlighted that people are slowly and steadily getting aware and they are accepting a treatment methodology which uses bacteria killing viruses. We know that bacteria killing viruses are called bacteriophages. So bacteriophage based treatment is slowly being accepted as an alternative to antibiotics, and we are going to discuss about this itself. In fact, let's begin our discussion with a question. The question is about antibiotic resistance, and it's quite ironical, right? The question here mentions antibiotic resistance, and I took an antibiotic about 1 hour back, right? I recently met with a minor accident, and the doctor prescribed me, there is a small wound here, and the doctor prescribed me antibiotic, right? Amoxiclav 620 for 5-day course. It's a second line antibiotic, right? So we all know that antibiotic resistance is becoming a big challenge, not just for India, but for the entire world, and WHO acknowledges this. You can see here, antibiotic resistance is one of the biggest threats to global health, food security, and development. It's indeed true. And in light of this observation, you need to examine the utility of phage therapy as an alternative to antibiotic treatment. If you are aware of phage therapy, it's very nice. But if you do not know what is phage therapy, you will get to know about that in this particular interaction. In fact, to attempt this question, you will get very good fodder in this video lecture. To get to know that, stay with me till the very end. We'll understand what is phage therapy, what are the nuances of phage therapy, what are the benefits, what are the issues with it, where do we stand today in terms of phage therapy. All these things will be discussed. So let us begin our interaction. But before that, there is a small notice for all of you. If you are preparing for UPSC Civil Services examination, then StudyIQ is bringing first English batch of Prelims to interview initiative. We do have this comprehensive program called P2I, where StudyIQ will be hand holding you from your prelims till your interview. If you clear your preliminary examination 2024, the next step, that is your mains residential program, all its expenses would be borne out by StudyIQ. It's a very comprehensive program starting on 19th June. Do visit our website www.studyiq.com. It is the most comprehensive and affordable program. If you want the heaviest of the discounts, then do use my code Rahul Live whenever you check out. It's a coupon code Rahul Live. You check it, you use it during checkout and do the payment, right? I'll see you in the class. Right, let's begin our discussion. As I told you, our interaction is about antibiotic resistance and an alternative towards that. So first thing we need to understand is what are antibiotics. Now, we all read in school antibiotic, right? Antibiotics are some sort of medicines or drugs that are again produced from the microorganisms itself. The first antibiotic was penicillin, which was invented or discovered by Alexander Fleming, 1928, right? Again, biology 101, we do remember that. From that time, antibiotics have been lifesavers. During Second World War or whatever catastrophe happened during Second World War, many lives were saved because of these antibiotics. So what are these antibiotics? These are drugs that are produced using the microorganisms that kill specific bacteria which spread diseases in our body, right? Antibiotics are prescribed if you have some sort of a bacterial infection, some sort of a wound, a dental infection, UTI, anything. As I told you, the doctor prescribed me for this particular wound antibiotics, a second line of antibiotics. You do know that there are different lines of antibiotics based on the severity, based on the infection the doctor prescribed. First line, second line, third line, right? Advanced antibiotics are also there, right? So we take antibiotics generally as a pill, and for children, for pediatric doses, basically it comes as liquid also. You do know that, right? But the question is, because of these antibiotics, there is slowly and steadily antibiotic resistance which is rising. And WHO has acknowledged that antibiotic resistance is one of the global issues, global health issue. We have discovered or we have discussed this in terms of India also. In India, antimicrobial resistance or antibiotic resistance is also a problem. The multi-drug resistant tuberculosis is a big menace in our country. We know about that. But please remember that antibiotic resistance can affect anyone. It's not just endemic to India. It can affect anyone at any age, in any country. There is one more thing that you need to remember, that antibiotic resistance can occur even naturally. Very, very important pointer from MCQ perspective. Antibiotic resistance can occur naturally, but it is being speeded up. It is being accelerated because of anthropogenic misuse. Right? Anything happens to us these days, we become our own doctors and we take antibiotics. Right? If you have sore throat, you don't even know if it is sore throat or strep throat. You go to your medical store, OTC, over the counter, you just take azithromycin, right, or amoxicillin, whatever it is, you prescribe it to yourself. Stop doing that. Why? It is because of this misuse. Antibiotic resistance is accelerating continuously. Now the question is, sir, fine, what happens? See, if I have strep throat, sore throat, I go to medical, I take antibiotic, my disease is gone. Then what? What is the problem there? The problem is this. The problem is antibiotic resistance. See, whenever you take antibiotics, the bacteria slowly and steadily they become resistant to those drugs. You can see this is the first time that you take antibiotics. Some of the bacteria or some of the microorganisms, now they have become resistant to that drug. So next time when you take the same drug or same antibiotic, nothing is going to happen to these microorganisms, and one day that bacteria is completely going to become resistant, and no matter how many antibiotics you take or whatever kind of drugs doses you take, the bacteria becomes resistant to it. And what happens? It turns into a superbug, and this superbug has become a huge problem in developing countries. Not just in developing countries, both in developed and developing countries. But once it becomes super drug, the first line, second line, third line advanced antibiotics, they do not work on them. That is why please ensure that you take only prescribed antibiotics. How can we fight antibiotic resistance? First of all, whatever doctor has prescribed, do take it. I told you doctor has prescribed me 5 days course, 3 days are already done. I was on a break for 2 days. For this I was recuperating, right? And I'll be continuing it for another 2 days. So please remember, complete the entire course. I'm feeling much better now. It's healing slowly and steadily. I've started my classes, I'm teaching also. But despite that, complete the course always. Do not save antibiotics for future use. Antibiotics, they do expire quickly. Do not save them for future use. Again, if you have a viral disease, say if you have some sort of throat infection, go to a doctor, check out if it is a sore throat or strep throat. If it is a viral infection, antibiotics will not work on it. If it's a viral infection, it will go off automatically. Your immune system will take care of it in a couple of days. So do not take antibiotics for a viral disease or a viral infection. Apart from that, do not use someone else's antibiotics. Means please rationalize the use of your antibiotics and use it only when prescribed by doctor. So these are some of the methods. But now we are going to discuss an alternate to this. So imagine I have already done this. It means my body has already developed antibiotic resistance. Right? I have taken too much of antibiotics and the bacteria now they have become resistant. So what can I do now? Can I go for some sort of alternate treatment, alternate therapy? Yes, possibly. And that is what we are going to discuss. As I told you, University of Exeter has recently highlighted that people are slowly and steadily getting more aware and they are accepting the bacteriophage based alternative for antibiotics. And this market is growing immensely. Recently, it was highlighted that the bacteriophage market is set to reach about $68 million. That means in pharma sector, a lot of research is going on towards bacteriophage based therapy. Now the next question. So what is this phage therapy? I want to understand it. Now, before, if I have some sort of a disease, some sort of infection, I assume or after testing, I come to know that it's a bacteria, I take antibiotic. But now, if the bacteria is resistant, then what do? I use something called as phage therapy. Now, what is this phage? Phage therapy uses bacteriophages. I'm quite sure you must have heard about this. In NCERT discussion also, we have spoken about this. Viruses can infect any living cell. Viruses can infect humans, viruses can infect plants, viruses can infect even a bacteria. The viruses which infect and kill a bacteria, they are called as bacteriophages, something like this. You must have seen them. So a virus which can kill a bacteria, it's called a bacteriophage. Meaning, now I don't take a tablet, or I do take a tablet or some sort of treatment method which is based on this phage. So I will be taking some bacterial viruses which are able to kill these bacteria. So bacteriophages specifically attack the bacteria. These phages do not harm people, that means do not harm humans, they do not harm animals, they do not harm plants. In fact, bacteriophages are found normally, naturally also. We have known there are many viruses which infect the bacteria, and bacteria have developed some sort of mechanism to fight them also. We know about this. So bacteriophages are basically called as natural enemies of bacteria. So bacteriophage itself means, it translates to bacteria eater. The virus, it finishes off the bacteria. So the treatment is based on this itself, and bacteriophages are found everywhere. Remember, how does it work? I create some sort of a drug or some sort of a treatment method in which I use bacteriophages. Once I introduce these bacteriophages into my body, they are going to find out the bacteria which is causing me harm. This bacteriophage is going to inject itself into the genetic information of the bacteria, and slowly and steadily it is going to replicate, and it is going to burst that bacterium, or it is going to kill that bacteria. How does it work? This is the method. As I told you, I take a drug or a treatment which is based on this bacteriophage. It adsorbs, or it reaches to the bacteria. Once it reaches to the bacteria, it enters into the bacteria. The virus then slowly and steadily replicates. Once it replicates, it is said that one bacteriophage can create around 1,000 copies of itself in one bacterial cell. And once the threshold reaches, the cell is going to burst out. That means the bacteria is now killed and the viruses have multiplied. This is how the treatment works. So I told you, if I have antibiotic resistance, I can go for phage therapy. If none of the antibiotics are working on me, I take a treatment or I take a drug which is based on bacteriophage, which specifically is going to kill that bacteria. That is how the phage therapy or phage treatment method works. Now you must be thinking, so very nice, I understood this. But isn't it dangerous? We'll talk about that. But what are the benefits first of all? See, we all know antibiotics are quite helpful for us. I told you, Alexander Fleming discovered antibiotics in 1928. It helped save penicillin. It helped save a lot of lives during the Second World War also. But we do know antibiotics have a big problem. For instance, I told you I've been taking antibiotics for past 3 days. And I see that there is some kind of a problem happening with my gut, with the digestive system. Why? Because the antibiotic that has been prescribed, it is going to kill the bad bacteria, yes, but it is also going to kill the good bacteria. So antibiotics, they attack more than one kind of bacteria. Since it's a broad spectrum antibiotic, it can kill other bacteria also. That is why you must have seen, whenever antibiotics are prescribed, they tell you to take some sort of a digestive stuff so that good bacteria is needed. We have already established this when we discuss microorganisms, that our body needs good bacteria and bad bacteria both. But antibiotics kill everything, right? That's the problem. So this disadvantage can be resolved by phage therapy. The second problem is antibiotics lead to superbugs. I already told you. If we keep on taking antibiotics indiscriminately, there would be a day when antibiotic resistance would be developed. Eventually, superbugs are going to be created, or a bug is going to turn into superbug. Then what? Then phage therapy can come into picture. Apart from that, if you look at the development of antibiotics, there is some sort of a stagnancy which has already come in antibiotic research. If I'm not wrong, you'll understand that the last antibiotic which was approved globally was way back in 1987. Since then, none of the antibiotics have been approved, or no new antibiotics have come. So you must be thinking, sir, what are these antibiotics that I take? I simply see a mix and match or the fixed drug combination of these antibiotics. Since 1987, no new antibiotics have come. So there is some sort of stagnancy for sure, right? So we can take care of all these by going for phage therapy. So what are the benefits of this? Whatever the problems of antibiotic treatment, we can resolve it. First of all, we do know that there are millions of bacteria, and similar to that, there are millions of bacteriophages also. So I can create bacteriophage based treatment. It is believed that there are about 10 to the power of 32 bacteriophages which are seen or which are available on Earth. Added to it, if I go for phage therapy, I can go for a pinpointed treatment. I use exactly that bacteriophage which is going to kill the bad bacterium and not the good ones. So my body or my GI tract won't be infected. Two big advantages. Apart from that, whatever testing that has happened till now, it is already proven that phage based treatment can be used along with other antibiotics also. Meaning a phage treatment can be used for treatable bacteria as well as resistant bacteria, for both. Along with it, phage therapy can be used alone or with other drugs. A mixture of that can be possible. Apart from that, what I need is just a single dose. As I told you, the doctor has prescribed me 5 days antibiotics. But if it is a phage therapy, just one drug, because the phage or the bacteriophage, it is going to replicate itself and it is going to kill the bacteria. Apart from that, the bacteriophage, as I told you, it does not harm, it's not toxic to humans or plants or animals or even environment. They are also found naturally. We know that. Now, you are thinking, sir, you have made a very good case. It's a very good case. Why don't we have phage treatment everywhere? Why are we still using antibiotic? Why did you take antibiotic today? Right? Why phage therapy is not so extensive? Because there are certain issues also. We need to go for a lot of tests. The first biggest problem with the phage therapy is that we have not focused on it. It has been rather slow. And why is this? It's quite understandable. See, we have known about bacteriophages for more than 100 years. At the beginning of 20th century, when bacteria were being studied, viruses were also studied. We know about bacteriophages from the beginning of 20th century. But as soon as antibiotics were discovered, a lot of focus went towards antibiotic research. And bacteriophage research, it took a back step. But in the recent decades, we have seen antibiotic resistance, because of which now again phage therapy has gained a lot of traction. In the last decade or so, there has been a lot of research over this, especially since the beginning of 21st century. A lot of research is going on over phage therapy. Added to it, there's one more issue. It is believed that phages are harmless to people and animals. They're not toxic, but when we take them as drug, can it impact humans? Can it impact ecosystem? Can it impact animals? Can it impact plants? We do not know. What we need to do is we need to study more. We need to research more and more. And you do know, for research, we need money. For research, we need time. And both these are of essence. So this is the issue. Yes, money, time, and a lot of research is needed. In fact, so many questions still remain with respect to phage therapy. The first question is that who is regulating it? Right? Is phage therapy regulated? In many countries, bacteriophage regulation is missing. What kind of doses should be given? Should directly human trials be started, or should it be tested first on animals? So we need a lot of clarity over research like phage development. What kind of bacteriophages should be developed? What should be the dosage? What should be the norms for clinical trials? Extensive research has to be done. We need to find exact phage for exact bacteria. That means there are many bacteria which cause disease to us. So we need many phage based research simultaneously. Apart from that, phages may also trigger immune system response from our body. Now, study is still going on this, and the safety, it comes into question. Why? Because you are actually injecting or you're intaking a virus, and of course it is for a noble cause. You are infecting yourself with a virus which is a bacteriophage. Means it is going to kill a bacteria in your body. But what is going to happen next? We do not know. We need more certainty and more research. And the biggest question is, sir, your argument started with antibiotic resistance. So what about phage resistance also? Can a bacteria develop resistance against a bacteriophage? Absolutely yes. You must have heard of this all itself, right? You must have heard in biotechnology concept of CRISPR, right? Clustered regularly interspaced palindromic repeats. CRISPR-Cas9 technology. We know it as molecular scissor technology. Where did this come from? Where did this come from? This actually came from the concept of phage resistance. One of the bacterium, Streptococcus pyogenes, it was infected by virus, a bacteriophage. And this bacteria, it developed CRISPR-Cas9 strains to eliminate these phages. And using this itself, we have developed the CRISPR-Cas9 complex or the molecular scissors. So there is a very realistic threat that superbugs can be created, or superbugs would be a development because of phage therapy. The question still remains here, and that is why till today phage treatment or phage therapy, it has not gained a lot of traction. But in recent times we are talking about it, we are researching on it, and as I told you, a lot of development works are happening in many companies like the Armata Pharmaceuticals, not many from India. Recently in 2021, the Armata Pharmaceuticals, they launched a new clinical trial with this phage to stop Staphylococcus aureus. Staphylococcus aureus, it leads to a lot of skin diseases, right? Or there are many researches which are going on using different bacteriophages to eliminate different bacteria like E. coli. Although E. coli in GI tract, it is quite good, but it can also lead to problems. Say urinary tract infection because of E. coli can happen. So many companies are now working on phage therapy to eliminate these bacteria. So it has gained traction for sure. So all in all, if you have to do an examination of phage therapy, I would say it is still in the nascent stage. Phage therapy isn't new. It is not new. I told you, we know about bacteriophages from the beginning of the 20th century, but it has gained a lot of traction in recent times. And it is a natural phenomenon. You need to understand phage therapy is nature's antibiotics. It is nature's antibiotics. So it can be developed as an alternative treatment method. And already it is an application, especially in food industry. In many food industries, already bacteriophage based therapy is used. In clinical trials also, it is in progress, as I gave you so many examples. But as of now, we can say more and more research is needed before it is approved for people. But people are also getting aware of it, and they are slowly and steadily accepting that in future, probably when the antibiotic resistance, it clicks or it hits on a large scale, then perhaps we need to look at different alternative methods or treatment methodologies, and one among that can be phage therapy, right? So I hope that you have gotten good insight into the question. I asked you a question about examining the phage therapy. You must have gotten good amount of fodder. Do attempt that particular question. If there is any development on this, if there is any news on phage therapy, we'll discuss that again on StudyIQ. But that is it right now in this particular discussion. Thank you for watching this video, and if you have liked this video, you can always follow me on my social media handle at the rate Rahul Sai222. If you have any queries, any doubts regarding anything, regarding the lecture, regarding the class, regarding the course P2I, you can always reach out to me on Instagram. I do respond on weekends. Thank you for watching this. Jai Hind.